the results and the experience that you're having in life are always, without fail, a reflection of your beliefs, not your effort. And effort compounds and amplifies things, but the belief is the outpicturing of that is where your results are coming from. So,
And going through now and the era that we're in, the time that we're in, you know, the biggest single problem for business owners is loneliness. Strangely enough,
mhm,
right? Yeah,
mhm,
yeah, not yeah. You get kind of really, you don't have the deep connections. You know,
mm,
you've got the family connections, yeah, but really after you've spoken to your wife or your partner a few times, they don't really want to hear about all the exciting things you're doing because they're not exciting to them. Yeah,
mm.
you can't speak to your staff because they're your staff, right? Yeah, even the people that work alongside you in the management team, you have this different relationship because you always need to be able to hold your power and yeah, be the bad guy if you need to be, right? So
Mm.
it becomes a very lonely thing.
So when I say blocks, I am essentially saying beliefs, right? I kind of have this thing that I talk about as identity settings. There's definitions or meanings that you make of things in the world as you experience and you grow up, and you kind of form identity conclusions or beliefs as a result of those. And those conclusions are the things that you filter everything that you do through. So they're kind of running invisibly all the time in ways that you can sometimes see because you'll get a trigger, or sometimes you just can't see it and you can't see the way it's limiting you or what it's setting as your standard, essentially. So a block could be anything from I have a definition that, for example, um, you know, worth is what I produce, is the results that I produce, or selling means pressuring people, or, different definitions that you get as you grow up. And I might make a conclusion that, I don't want to pressure people. I'm the kind of person who doesn't pressure people. I'm the kind of person who's kind. And so selling and my conclusion about myself being kind are going to conflict, right? Or if I want to be somebody who's worthy, and I feel like, okay, but worth means producing results, and I haven't got these certain results, therefore maybe I'm not worthy for this. So essentially, the dance of those definitions and the beliefs that you form are the thing that sort of, causes behavior. And what I find is the way it really shows up is the permission that people give themselves to do things or to feel things or to be allowed things. Or so let's say it's, for example, somebody who is at, I don't know, 10K a month. For that person, thinking of operating at 100K a day is just so far from their kind of identity settings, what they think is possible, what they feel like they want, what they think they're allowed, what skills they think they have, that, identity is something that just keeps things coherent. It keeps you in the same place. And obviously, as an entrepreneur, you have to learn and you have to grow, you have to evolve, you've got to respond to the data in order for your business to keep thriving. So, the blocks are plentiful, but quite often they actually just boil down to definitions that prevent you from feeling worthy, like you're allowed things, that you're deserving of things, that you're complete in some kind of way. So I'm sure most people know about the kind of sense that I'm not enough in some kind of way. But it can be quite a niggly thing that you don't actually realize where you don't feel enough
Mhm.
until you meet the thing that you need to be enough for. So it's one of those that can be quite context dependent, but we've all got them. We've all got beliefs that are running the show.
Yeah, it's the story of the guy who's fixing the engine in the ship, and he goes up and he knocks it with a hammer and charges them 10 grand, and they're like, "Well, you just knocked it with a hammer." And it's like, "No, but I spent 25 years learning where to knock it."
Mm,
You know, and
hmm
so I often see people charging a fixed rate per hour, right?
hmm
So now I'm charging $250 or pounds an
hmm
hour for my services, and So I can't charge any more than that because nobody else does, right? But
Mm,
what problem are you actually fixing, right?
mm-hmm,
Are you fixing an hour's worth of problem? Are you
mm-hmm,
condensing, £150,000 worth of training plus 5 years of experience plus, making the mistake yourself into that hour?
mm,
And I was speaking to somebody else on a podcast just recently, and he was talking about having someone come to him, and charge him $10,000 for an hour's worth of consulting,
mm-hmm,
and he made $1 million out of that learning. Right?
mm-hmm,
And it's such a subtle shift in how we think, to what's our actual value, right?
mm-hmm,
Yeah, how do we define our value in ourselves so that we can go out, and then share it and get the right energy exchange? Right?
mm-hmm,
We're talking about an energy exchange, and you go into a room and you feel a connection and an energy with someone, and you have this exchange.
mm-hmm,
How do you value your time and your energy so that you can go to somebody else and give them that energy? Because it's got two things. One is what you're portraying, and if you say, okay, I'm going to give you this foundational piece of work, but I'm only going to charge you peanuts for it, you, as the person receiving, don't necessarily put any value behind it,
mm-hmm,
right? And I went through a really traumatic business stage
mm,
a few years ago during COVID.
mm,
I bought this amazing adventure center with indoor skydiving and indoor surfing and a hotel and a
mm,
gym, and basically lost it because there's nothing you can do. Sometimes you've got to let go, right? And
yeah,
I have such a firm belief in my own abilities, and you can't fix COVID, I'm afraid.
mm, mm,
So we went right down to the bottom of the barrel. I really had to reevaluate what's important to me. Right?
mm,
What does it mean? Freedom is the thing that comes directly to front of mind. What does freedom really mean? Yeah, as we
mm,
just spoke about. I've just got back from France. This year I've been to France, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Seattle. I've been to I got back from Prague today. I can't even remember. So I've been to like 5 countries, this year alone. And that doesn't mean I sit here and I work from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. And get don't live the life I love.
yeah,
It's more important to me to live the life I love than to have £1 million in the bank.
mm,
And those two things can very much coincide.
yeah. Making money, losing money, making money is, you know, sometimes we're wanting things out of fear and out of anxiety. That the whole stance of using things to get security, of trying to feel safe and trying to feel secure, it's not bad in and of itself, but it can have a framing or a psychological framing where you're scared of loss, you're scared of not having enough. And you will never get to a place where it's enough. It never ever feels while you have that frame of reference. So I have had many times, just as you were saying, where you're like, okay, if I can make this much a month, then life will be whatever. It's always that formulation. If X can happen, then I'll have Y, right? And it's an absolute illusion. Like you can always have Y. It's you that's putting the condition on it, right? And
Right.
it's usually because we're scared and we don't believe it's true that we are deserving enough or worthy enough to deserve the joy as well as the success. So to be honest, at this stage, I my process was sort of selfishly for myself originally. When I was doing performance optimization, I was working with all sorts of people. I was working with kind of kids and families and CEOs, and it was all over the shop because what I did was just mental models. But I was growing my business and doing my business things at the time. So I thought, God, how do I use this for myself and not just, the CEO of a massive company? Because, I'm a business owner of a small business. Like, what do I do to optimize myself? And so that is actually how I birthed my actual process to find my blocks on a day-to-day basis. And I built an execution system based on that. So I actually use it every day and I have plenty of blocks. And one of the blocks that is quite a profound one that I have come up against and sometimes does return is this desire or condition to get it right. Which I think a lot of us have, high achievers,
I'm not
where
going to
we,
post this until it looks perfect.
yeah, Well, and it can operate like you don't even think that you're stuck in a perfectionism cycle. You just think, oh, I'm doing my job really well, and I want to do really well by my clients. I want to do whatever, and I want to whatever.
This
Yes.
whole AI piece, we look out in the world and we know we should be doing it, and we see these guys doing these awesome things. Yeah, and then we try it, and it's actually way harder than what they make it look like.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just follow these steps and you do it. But the
Yeah.
underlying piece of all of that is you don't have all the other things together.
Hmm.
You don't have the core structure together. You don't have your SOPs together. You don't know what you're selling and who you're selling it to in the right level of detail. So
Mm.
you don't have the whole picture, and that's kind of what you're
Mm.
talking to, right?
Yeah, essentially, any external thing is an amplifier of whatever you believe and think, and you're using it for and wherever you're at. So having to retrain and understand how to dial into what feels good in a sense of using my emotions as kind of data for knowing where I'm psychologically aligned and what's fear versus what's freedom. That really is my question all the time. I think my one message would be that the results and the experience that you're having in life are always, without fail, a reflection of your beliefs, not your effort. And effort compounds and amplifies things, but the belief is the outpicturing of that is where your results are coming from. So I would say in a world now where we're so wrapped up in so many things, so many tools, so many things outside of ourselves, realizing that taking the time to stop and reflect and be honest with your emotions, with where you're at, what you're getting, and starting to think, how am I creating this? Is both a very confronting but liberating question to ask yourself. So that would be the one that I think can unlock a lot of freedom and a lot of kind of success for people. So that would be the one.